Hello everyone. I just came back from the Shanghai Grand Prix, which is super duper exciting. So I wanted to do a whole episode just me talking about the Shanghai Grand Prix, like my experience, and also some tips I have after attending my first ever GP. I've learned a lot about what to do and what not to do, so I wanted to share and just make a whole episode on this topic. I just came back from the Shanghai Grand Prix. I said that like 3 times, I feel like, but it was actually the most exciting thing ever. It was like the best 3 days of my life. And those 3 days were all about F1. I spent like my whole days in the circuit because there were a lot of activities and booths you could attend like on site. I was even dreaming about F1. Like every night before I went to bed, the F1 driver intro was stuck in my head. Like the dun 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 dun. Yeah, that one. It was literally the best experience ever. And even though I had to go during assessment week, I missed like a few days of school during assessment week, which is not the best because I had a lot to catch up on. Like the following week, I had like so many makeup assessments. I had like assessments, 2 assessments on each day, which is not the best. And I was not really well prepared. But then this whole experience was definitely worth it. Like I'd rather be stressed, like have to do lots of makeup assessments unprepared, given that I got to attend a Grand Prix because it was actually the best 3 days of my entire life, and the vibes were really great on the circuit. There was DJ music. I added some songs to my playlist because they were just like the best, and now when I listen to those songs, I just think about my whole entire experience. I just want to live through it again. Like I can't wait for the next time I go watch a Grand Prix. I don't know when that will be because it's not something I get to do that often because I live in Hong Kong and there's not really a Grand Prix in Hong Kong. So I need to travel outside to do it, and there's not always the time or like the opportunities to do it. The audience had like insane posters and their excitement was super duper contagious, and they were like cheering after each overtake, and it was just like the best vibes. And they had these insane fan posters. Like there was this whole section just for Lewis Hamilton. They were raising that 44 red 44 poster. Like their whole section was raising the same exact poster. I don't know how they got everyone to do that. But then there was another section for like Leclerc, and one for like Oscar Piastri, and one for Max Verstappen. And yeah, you could really tell how the grandstand was divided between the drivers, but that was like literally the best part of it. And yeah, the support from the audience was amazing. It just felt super surreal because I could not believe my eyes the whole entire time. Like, could not believe that the car that I was watching on the track was driven by like Lewis Hamilton. That was actually insane to me that he was in that little yellow helmet, and that like he was within a close proximity to me. It was actually insane because I'm used to seeing the drivers on TV, like they're in another country, and I'm in my room just like watching them drive on my little laptop. But yeah, it just felt super surreal to me. And the Shanghai Grand Prix was also a sprint, so there was extra action. And if you don't know the structure of the Grand Prix days, on Friday there is practice, and if there is a sprint that weekend, then there's also sprint quali. And then on Saturday it is the actual sprint race if there's a sprint, and then in the afternoon it's the quali. And then on Sunday is the actual race, which is the most exciting day. And obviously there's going to be the most people on that day. So when you go to a Grand Prix, just be sure to be prepared to like elbow everyone on Sunday and just like squeeze your way through the crowds. It is really tiring, so make sure you bring caffeine because I was pretty tired after getting through the crowds, and then I was watching the Grand Prix. Like, not really tired, but then I was just drained, but then I was also excited. I felt like a bunch of emotions throughout the whole entire Grand Prix. I was like excited, I was angry, I was sad, I was happy, I was excited. So yeah, it was definitely like a super tiring experience. And every night I went to bed right after I showered, and yeah, I just fell asleep really well. The first thing I want to talk about attending the Grand Prix is the live versus TV experience. When you're watching it live, obviously there isn't a camera to just like follow the cars and zoom in on the overtakes. I mean, there is a small TV screen that displays whatever they're showing on the F1 TV, but then I don't know if it's just the circuit I went to, but the TV screens were actually really small and I could barely see what was going on those TV screens. So you're attending a live Grand Prix and you know that maybe the circuit doesn't have the best TV screens on track, then maybe bring like a pair of binoculars. I saw a lot of people bringing binoculars during the Shanghai Grand Prix, but I did not have one. So I just had to like zoom in on my phone, which was still fine and I could see a bit. But yeah, just be aware of the fact that you won't be able to see every single overtake because there is another side of the track on the opposite side of the grandstand that is really tiny because it's so far away, so you can barely see anything that's going on here. And most of the overtakes you can see is just what happens right in front of you. I was sitting next to the first big corner, so I could see most of the overtakes, but then if they happened on the other side of the track, then I could not see them, obviously, which is kind of sad, but I could just like zoom in with my phone onto the TV screen, which is fine. The next is that the cars actually have a huge smell when they zoom past, especially if you're sitting in the lower grandstand section, then you would definitely be able to smell this. I think it is the petrol smell, and when they zoom past, there's also like a small cloud of smoke from like friction. And if you're really sensitive to that, then I just suggest you bring some masks because the petrol smell it smells really chemically, and if you're just really sensitive to that, then just bring some masks because I think that if you're smelling that constantly, it can't really be good for your lungs as well. So if you have a mask, then you're guarding against the smell and all the chemicals that come with it. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have on the live versus TV experience. Next, let's talk about buying tickets because this is really important. You're stuck in your seat for like 3 days and you're forced to watch whatever you've purchased. So, first of all, let me just express my opinion because everyone has a different preference. So, I prefer being close to the corner, even if it means that I have to be far away from the starting grid, because the corner is where most of the action happens and most of the overtaking happens. And if you're sitting close to the grid, then you can't really see the corner. And I mean, the grid is where all the PR stuff happens, like where you see the podiums, where you see the champagne, where you see the drivers line up and get ready for the race. So if you're interested in that, then I suggest you get a seat closer to the grid. But then if you're sitting next to the corner, then you'll be able to see all the overtaking stuff happen. And I guess on some days when there's less people and the guards aren't as strict, then you could sort of move around. Like on the first day, there was barely any people because it was just practice and then sprint to quali. So I just went over to the section of the grandstand that was closer to the grid, and after the start happened, like this quali just began, I just went over to the corner again. But I mean, like for the quali, if you're close to the corner, it doesn't really do anything because I mean, it's not much overtaking during the quali. They're just trying to get the fastest lap in and they're not racing each other. So yeah, during the quali, like I think the grid would be a better option, but during the race, the corner is definitely the better option for me. I also prefer higher seats because you'll be able to see more of the grid. I mean, more of the circuit. And if you're in the lower section of the grandstands, then you'll be staring at the same part of the circuit the whole entire time because of the angle. But if you're at a higher angle, then you'll be able to see more of the circuit that's far away. And obviously, if you're higher up, then you'd be less able to see the drivers on the circuit because they look like tiny little ants, but then you'll be able to see them race more and race better. So it's all down to personal preference, like if you want to be able to go up close to the drivers or if you're more interested in the racing part. Pretty much all I have for buying the tickets. The next tip I have is to get to the circuit early. This is because there is a huge crowd and there's a bunch of people going to the same exact event. So you want to get there early to beat the crowds. And there are also a lot of fun Formula One related activities on the circuit. Like there are booths and there are merch stores and there are like these small little stalls. I remember there was like an F1 simulator stall that I really wanted to try, but then there was just a huge line for that, so I like didn't have that much time to line up for that, so I didn't get to try the F1 simulator and see how good at car racing I am. If you get there earlier, then I guess you could line up for it. And there were also other fun booths that I did. Like there was this American Express booth that lets you do your own little driver intro video. That was super cool. I felt really, I don't know, like powerful. They also let you design your own livery, which is kind of cool and just fun if you're into the designing aspects. And there are also showcases, like the Mercedes had this whole stall rented out just to show their new cars. And there are also other Chinese brands that showcase their cars, and like there was this flying car as well, which is really cool. Yeah, there are also stage talks. Keep that in mind. I think you can check the schedule for that online. And if there is a particular driver you want to see, or like a particular team principal you want to see on the stage talk, then I suggest you check online for their times and then get there a bit earlier. Because for Joe Guan Yu's talk, even 30 minutes before his scheduled time, there was already a huge crowd, and the guards had to separate the crowd into two to avoid like accidents or like dangerous activities. So yeah, just get there in time if you want to secure a good spot for the stage talk so you can see clearly. If you also leave 5 minutes early after each race, then you get home so much quicker and you'd be so much well rested for the next day to see whatever is happening the next day. And just the last 5 minutes is mostly celebratory stuff, so you can, I guess you can always watch that online and the experience would still be the same, especially since you're live. You can barely see anything that's going on the podium because it's like really far away in my experience for my circuit, so you can barely see that anyways. And I think it's better to watch that part on TV. But if you leave just 5 minutes earlier, then you'd beat so many crowds, so many people, and you get there to the metro station earlier. And that brings me to the next point, which is transportation. I don't suggest you take a private car or like a cab to the circuit because obviously there would be a lot of traffic, and I don't know, for some circuits like the Chinese circuit, they don't allow cars within a certain radius. So you'd have to switch into a metro or like a shuttle bus anyways. And I think the metro is the best option because there's no traffic at all. It's underground and it's scheduled time, so you can check online when the metro is going to come and just like plan accordingly. On the metro, you can also meet some other fans because when I was on the metro in my car, there were like, it was mostly Formula One fans, and you could tell because everyone was in their own merch. It was like McLaren merch, Ferrari merch, like Red Bull merch. Like everyone just like decked out on merch, and we looked like a cult. I don't know how we looked like to locals. It was probably like really embarrassing when a local went in because they were like, who are these weird people? Yeah, I suggest you take the metro because it is also really cheap and it's quick, it's efficient, it's easy. You just check on Google Maps or whatever to check your route. And yeah, it's also like a opportunity to socialize with other fans. So if you are a person who likes that, then I suggest take the metro. And honestly, it's for everyone because I highly don't recommend taking a private car, or a cab, because that's just a waste of time. You're gonna be stuck in traffic and it's also like really expensive, so don't do that. The next point I want to bring up is something I am super passionate about because I did not do this and it like almost ruined my whole entire after experience. Because if you didn't know, I vlogged the whole entire thing, and if you haven't watched that, go watch that on my YouTube channel right now. But I vlogged the whole entire thing, and basically I have two cameras. One is the Canon V10, which is more for vlogging, and one is this camera that I'm using, which is more professional and more expensive. And the V10 is really handy. The lens is stuck on 0.5, so it's really good when you're vlogging yourself because your face won't appear as big. There is a certain length that your arm can only go up to, and if it's not far enough, then your face would look super big on a normal camera. But with the 0.5 lens, then your face would look better. I like it more in my opinion, so I use it to vlog more. And this camera that I'm using, it was actually my first camera for YouTube, and it is really expensive. I made a huge investment, and but the quality is amazing. The zoom is also amazing, so I wish I brought that to the Formula 1 Grand Prix, because if you have a good camera, then you can zoom in better on the drivers and on the car, so you can see better and your footage will be better. And when you come home and look at your footage, you'd be like more satisfied because you're like, oh my god, this is such good quality. I filmed it, I was there, I was behind the camera, and yeah, you just feel so much better, and like your rewatches would be less frustrating. And with my Canon V10, I vlogged everything on the Canon V10, and the quality is honestly like really bad because it's stuck on a 0.5 lens, so everything is really far away and you can't zoom in. So towards the end of the Grand Prix, I just used my phone to zoom in, but obviously my phone isn't that great quality either. Yeah, just like the footage that I have right now is not the best. I'm really mad at myself for not bringing this camera because I was scared at first that I would break this camera somehow with the chaos of the Formula 1 Grand Prix. But now that I think of it, it would not have happened because everyone else had crazy cameras. Like they had lenses the size of my arm, and it was just like it looked really expensive. It looked like it cost them an organ. So yeah, and their cameras probably turned out fine, and they probably have amazing footage. So I really regret not bringing my camera, like this camera right now, because this camera looks tiny in comparison to their cameras, and it looks really unprofessional compared to their cameras as well. So I could not even imagine how my Canon V10 looked, because it's actually like kind of like a toy, but it's just really convenient when you're vlogging yourself. I mean, when you're vlogging like traveling and stuff, because it's really handy. It fits in your pocket. It's like smaller than my phone. So yeah, it's really handy. So that's why I brought that, because I usually use it for traveling, and this one I just keep in Hong Kong because, you know, it's expensive, so I don't want to break it. Even with the airport stuff, that's kind of annoying when you go through like immigration and stuff when you're using like a big camera. I don't know if they like would check my bags when they find out I have a camera, because it doesn't really go through x-ray, I think. But you know what, nothing is perfect, and there's always something to learn from each experience. So now that I know when I'm going to like an event like a Formula 1 Grand Prix, I have to bring this camera. So you know what, it's like something for next time. Hopefully there's like God telling me that there will be a next time that I will do better on. So it's fine. It is completely fine. Yeah, so the last point I have is to bring your own food into the circuit. This because the food in the circuit is really overpriced. One Shake Shack burger for my Grand Prix was like 100 RMB, 120 RMB, and is usually like $50, which is like more than half the price in the Grand Prix. And there also aren't a lot of options to choose from in the Grand Prix. Like Shake Shack only served like two burger options, and there were like few little stalls serving food. um they also didn't look that good, so I suggest you bring your own food, because me and my sisters, we brought our own food into the circuit. We brought these bao buns that China is known for, like Shanghai is known for. We bought breakfast and lunch, and all three of us combined was like $14, which is crazy. If you buy from those local little stores outside of the circuit, then you will definitely get great value for money, because it was great food and it was really cheap. So yeah, I suggest you do that. Unless you were like really in a rush in the mornings and you don't have time to do that, then I understand, and you just buy the circuit food, because it's not like it's an inedible. It's just like not as good, and it's really expensive. That's basically all the tips I have for today, and this was a different type of video from what I usually do, and a different type of episode from what I usually do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you guys did, then I'll do more of these, like these sit down talks of my experiences and what I learned and some of the tips I have. So thank you for watching, and thank you for listening, and go watch my Formula One vlog right now, even if it isn't the best quality. Because when I was editing it, I was actually so mad. But go watch it right now and go support. And if you guys like it, then I'll vlog my next Formula One Grand Prix, which is might be in a few years. Because I don't know when I would be able to have this time to do that. Because I'm gonna get into my IBs next year. So hopefully when I graduate and when I go to London, which is like my dream, I don't even care about the university I go to. I just want to go to London. And then when I go to London, then I'll be able to travel around Europe and hopefully attend more Grand Prix. And by that time, I'll vlog it if you guys support my vlog. So, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.